Hi everyone, welcome back to your next virtual math lesson. We are going to have a look at today subtracting fractions again, but this time we're going to look at it involving mixed number fractions. But quite a lot to get through this morning because there's quite a few different ways I want to show you how to answer these sort of questions. Some methods looking at subtraction, other methods looking at finding the difference. So counting on from a certain fraction up to another fraction. I'm going to do a couple of examples and then set you some work. So let's get into the first one. 1 2/3 take away 5/6. There's 4 steps to success here that we would ask you to follow when looking at using this subtraction method to help you find the answer. Step number 1. You are going to always convert the mixed number fraction into a non-unit fraction. A non-unit fraction, remember, is a fraction where the numerator is greater than 1. Sometimes when you convert it, you'll end up with a mixed number fraction. You'll end up with an improper fraction. Sometimes you'll end up with a proper fraction. Let's have a look at 2 examples. So let's have a look at this. If I'm converting it, again, converting from a mixed number to a proper or an improper fraction, times a whole number by the denominator. 1 times 3 is 3. Add my 2 would give me 5/3. Subtract 5/3. Subtract 5/6. From the work we did yesterday, hopefully you're spotting. Can't do that straight away nice and easily because I've got 2 different denominators, so I've got to find my equivalent fractions. Again, if one denominator is a factor of the other, I can use the large denominator of a larger number as my common denominator. 3 can be times by something to make 6, so 6 can be my common denominator. Remember yesterday I talked about circling the operation. Definitely do that again today because we don't want you adding at the end when you should be subtracting. So we've got the common denominator of 6. We now need to work out what the numerators are. Again, put my subtracting and circling. How do I get from 3 to 6 times by 2? 5 times 2 would give me 10. 6 times 1 gives me 6. 1 times 5 would give me 5. I was representing it on a bar model to show it pictorially. 6/10. Now, if I shade in one whole bar, that's 6/10. If not, it's 6/6. If I wanted to shade in 10/6, I need another bar of 6, don't I? Because I can't shade in more than one whole bar here. So I've got to have 6 here and then shade in 4 more of my second bar. 3, 4 to represent 10/6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I'm subtracting, remember I'm subtracting, I've circled it to remind me, I'm taking away 5, a bit like we did yesterday by using the crossing out method. Cross out 4 of this bar, cross out 1 of that bar would give me 5, 6 remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, remember, the bar model is there to represent what we're doing pictorially. You might have spotted straight away here, without having to look at this, what the answer was. But if we do it on the bar model as well, it's just good to double check our answer. We can just double check that what we've got here matches what we've got here, and it increases our chances of being correct. Let's look at a second example. We'll get rid of all that. We're going to have a look at 1 whole and 3/4. And we're going to subtract 5/8, I think. Let's get rid of that over here. So again, we're going to have a look at a similar method that we or the same method with a different question. Looking at what we've just done. So again, follow the 4 simple steps. Step number 1, convert to the mixed number fraction into a non-unit fraction. 1 times 4 is 4, add on my 3 is 7. 7 quarters, subtract 5/8. If I am doing that, I've got to find my common denominator again. Is 4 a factor of 8? Yes, it is. So I can use 8 as my common denominator. Remember, I'm subtracting. What do I times 4 by to get to 8? Times it by 2. 7 times 2 would give me 14. So again, I'm going to need more than 1 bar to represent 14 eighths, because I can only shade in 8 eighths on 1 bar. So I'm going to need more than 1 to represent that pictorially. How do I get from 8 to 8? Times by 1, so my 5 times 1 would give me 5. So if I'm shading in 14, I know that 1 whole is the same as 8 eighths. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If I'm taking away 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, slightly different to last time, and it's the 4th step. So sometimes you end up with a fraction at the end, like we did last time, which is a proper fraction. 5/6, I think the answer was last time. This time, though, I've got 8 here and I've got 9 there. So I've actually got 9 eighths remaining, which is an improper fraction. To convert my improper fraction, I've got to work out how many full eighths, or full lots of, how many holes can I create if I've got 9 eighths in total. Well, 8 eighths is the same as 1 whole, so I can make 1 full group, and I've got 1/8 remaining. How does that work? Well, this is where this pictorial method comes into its own, because I can see 1 whole bar shaded in, and I can shade in, and I've got 1 of my eighths shaded in. So that's where my 1 whole and 1/8 comes from. Hopefully the bar model, you can kind of see why we use them side by side to help you. So remember, recap the 4 steps. Step number 1, convert the mixed number fraction into a non-unit fraction. Okay, so sometimes you'll convert it and it'll be a proper fraction, sometimes it'll be an improper fraction. In these cases, it's been an improper fraction. Step number 2, find your common denominator. And often can be the larger denominator, but not always. And that completes step number 2. Step number 3, subtract them, one from the other. And then step number 4, convert it to a mixed number fraction if you can, where you can use your bar models to check your answers to see whether they match. So that's subtraction using takeaway. I'm just going to show you, and I know it's been quite a long video this morning, but I'm just going to show you subtraction, but we're going to use find the difference by looking at number lines. Stick with me. I know you might be thinking you're a little bit confused, but stick with me because I'm going to do 2 examples here to show you what I mean. So let's have a look. So we'll have 1 and let's have 3/5. And we're going to subtract 3/10. So 2 different ways you can do subtraction using find the difference when you've got questions like this. Number 1, you can think, can I convert this fraction here, 1 3/5, can I convert it to have the same denominator as my second fraction? In this case, luckily I can. I know that 3/5 is the same as, if I wanted 10 as my denominator, how did I get from 5 to 10? I times by 2. So if I find my denominator by 2, I times my numerator by 2. Remember, whatever I do to the numerator, I must do to the denominator. We looked at that when we focused on equivalent fractions. 3 times 2 is 6/10. So 1 3/5 is the same as 1 6/10. they're equivalent, they are the same. The fractions look different, but they represent the same value. Now, I said about using a number line. Let's pull a number line in here to help us. So, if I was using this method, first thing I would do is convert so they both have the same denominator. I've done that, that's step number 1. Step number 2, I would then put what my smaller amount, so which one's smaller, 1 3/5 or 3/10. 3/10 is smaller because it's less than 1. I'd put my smaller value at one side of my number line, and I'd put my larger value. Remember, I've got 1 6/10 is the same as 1 3/5, but I've converted it to help me because I've got the same denominator that way. 1 6/10, like so. So I then need to find the difference between 3/10 and 1 6/10. So I've got to go find the difference on my number line by counting up. So how can I get from 3/10 to a nice round number? If I'm adding tenths, I could jump all the way up to, I think, 1/2. How do I get from 3/10 to 1/2? I'm adding 7/10. Yeah? 3/10 add 7/10 give me 1/2, 10/10, same as 1/2. I then need to get from 1 to 1 6/10. So how do I get from 1 to 1 6/10? I add on 6/10. I then need to work out what did I add on in total. Seven tenths add 6/10 give me 13/10. My denominator says it's the same, so I can just add my numerators. Will give me 13/10. Convert 13/10 into a mixed number. How many full lots of 10 can I make if I have 13? I can make 1 full lot of 10, and I can make, I've got 3/10 remaining. So 1 3/5, take away 3/10 is 1 3/10. And then my final example, we'll do one more similar to that. I even got rid of my picture now. Finally, we'll have a look at 1 5/6. Subtract 7/12. So this time, I am just going to have my number line. Just going to have a number line like so. I'm going to start with my smaller value, which in this case is 7/12 because it's less than 1, whereas the other one is much greater than 1. And I want to get from 7/12, so I want to get up to 1 5/6, don't I? Now this method is a little bit more straightforward. You might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, don't you need to find the common denominator? Well, yes, that's how I've just shown you. That's one method of doing it. This might be a little bit more straightforward for you. Let's try and get from 7/12 to a nice round number. Well, let's try and get to 1/2. How have I got from 7/10 to get to 1/2? Add on the difference, so 7/12, 8/12, 9/12, 10/12, 11/12, 12/12. So I've added on in total 5/12. Now I'm at 1, and I need to get from 1 to 5, 1 5/6. So what I need to do is add on 5, 6. So in total, I've added on 5 12s, and then I've added on a further 5 6. Can I do that straight away? I can't do that straight away because I've got different denominators, so I've got to convert, so I've got two denominators that are both the same. Is 6 a factor of 12? Yes, it is. So I can put 12 in my common denominator by timesing by 2. 5 times 2 would give me 10. I've then got a second fraction, which is running out of space here, so it's dropped to the bottom. Timesing 12 by what to get to 12? Times it by 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Add my two values together. I'm finding the difference, so I'm counting up. 5 12s add 10 12s would give me 15 12s. It's an improper fraction. How many full lots of 12 can I make from 15? I can make one full lot of 12 with a difference of 3 12s. So my answer would be 1 and 3 12ths. Or, because 3 and 12 share a times table, hopefully you're telling me they share the 3 times table. How many ones make 3? 1 to 3 make 3. How many 3s make 12? 4. So my answer could be either 1 and 3 12ths, or that is equivalent to 1 and 1/4. Wow, lots to get through there. Really, really difficult stuff. But I've shown you different ways of subtracting, which you can now have a go at on the questions I've set for you. Have a go at doing it. Don't worry if you're finding one method more difficult than the other. Maybe watch the video and have a go at the bar model questions, and watch the video again, have a go at the subtracting, find the difference method using the number lines. Let me know how you get on. Don't worry if you find one method slightly tricky. Keep watching the video again and maybe break it down that way. That might be helpful. Okay, good luck, and email me your